Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the December 13th, 2023 meeting of the CCRB to order. Good evening and welcome. My name is Arva Rice. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the interim chair of the Civilian Complaint Review Board. I would like to call the CCRB meeting to order, which I already did, and I'm going to ask the board members if they could please introduce themselves, and we're going to start on this end with Joe.
Joe Fox. I'm the NYPD rep.
Harvey Merritt, City Council designee from Brooklyn.
Pat Smith, mayoral appointee.
Good evening, Kevin Jamat, the mayoral appointee from Queens.
John Dorsch, I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the executive director of the CCRB.
Good evening, Charlene Brown-Wyans, Police Commissioner Designee.
Good evening, A.U. Hogan, City Council appointee from South Jamaica, Queens.
Good evening, Frank Dwyer, Police Commissioner Designee.
Terrific. And do we have anyone on the line tonight? Thank you, Joseph. Anyone else on the line? Okay, terrific. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the November board meeting minutes as presented.
Madam Chair, I'd like to amend the minutes to reflect that I was here last month.
Okay. We will definitely make that change. Any other?
I want to be on that list on page 3.
Okay. We will definitely make that change. Thank you. Any other changes to the board minutes? All right. So I would like to then present a motion that we would accept the November board meeting minutes with the change in the attendees of our board members. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to accept the board minutes as amended?
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes with the...
So if there's anyone who would like a copy, we'll get them for you, but they're also posted on the website. And we'll get the corrected copy up as well. Would you like a copy, Mr. Myers?
I want copies of all the public records for today's meeting. And now, I'm sorry, I wasn't in my office to take records from the meeting.
We'll get you a copy.
Terrific. Thank you. Last week, Police Commissioner Caban and I signed an important memorandum of understanding that will help ensure cases are closed within the statute of limitations. Before last week, NYPD did not share documents or footage of a case that was under review by the Force Investigation Division, or FID. This would cause detrimental delays in CCRB cases that risked exceeding the 18-month state-mandated statute of limitations. Most recently, this affected the investigation into the killing of Kowalski Trawick. The trial commissioner who oversaw this case's trial is citing the delays as the reason why the two officers responsible for Kowalski Trawick's death should not face discipline. Moving forward, NYPD agreed to release all requested evidence within 90 days of an FID investigation. We are pleased to have come to this agreement with NYPD and hope it will ensure officers who commit misconduct cannot avoid discipline due to a technicality. This MOU is part of a long list of successes throughout this year for the agency. In 2023, the CCRB received the highest number of complaints since 2012. We received 5,296 complaints, 43% more than last year with the same number of investigators. Thank you so much to our investigative unit, which has taken on this challenging number of cases. As complaint numbers go up and our investigative workload increases, we have also increased the number of board panels held in order to vote the ever-increasing number of cases. Thank you so much to my fellow board members for dedicating more of your time to accountability in this city. Our policy team has also worked hard to expedite the release of agency reports. Our annual, semi-annual, and quarterly reports are all being released in record time to increase transparency and timely data with the public. We've also added more than 2,200 closing reports to our website and have completed 506 new FOIL requests. Our outreach team conducted over 1,200 presentations and canvassing events this year, the largest number of events in the agency's history. They traversed all 5 boroughs to engage with New Yorkers and inform them of their rights. In our annual Week of Awareness alone, the outreach team conducted 30 events in 5 languages. They partnered with elected officials to canvass in their districts and with community-based organizations, schools, libraries, and even local businesses to meet New Yorkers where they are. The CCRB also had its 5th class of youth advisors who hosted an exceptional event that invited young people from around the world to discuss the problems of policing in their countries and brainstorm solutions together. The application for the 2024 class of the Youth Advisory Council is currently open, and we welcome all 10 to 18-year-old New Yorkers to apply. 2023 is the 30th anniversary of the CCRB, and we are honored to have been a part of making New York City safer for all people for 3 decades. We continue to fight for better police accountability in the city, including testifying before the City Council to support direct access to body-worn camera footage, exemption from stealing statutes, increased budget, and final disciplinary authority over our cases. We will continue to advocate for these rights and hope city and state legislators will support these important bills. As we enter 2024, we hope to build on and exceed the work we did this year, though the whole city is facing budget cuts. We will now hear from Executive Director Jonathan Darsh on what this might mean for the CCRB. John?
Thank you, Chair Rice. On September 9th, 2023, the Office of Management and Budget directed all city agencies to cut spending by 15% before the start of fiscal year 2025. The CCRB is committed to serving the people of New York with the highest quality of work, completing timely and thorough investigations, maintaining our transparency efforts by publishing detailed reports and fulfilling FOIA requests, prosecuting cases in the trial room, meeting New Yorkers where they are to inform them of their rights and ensure that they know the CCRB is a recourse for them if they have experienced police misconduct. Unfortunately, it will not be possible to maintain this level of work with the budget as proposed. Currently, the CCRB has a staff of 237 full-time employees and a board of 12 part-time members, although frankly, many of them work more than what you would typically think a part-time person works. The enacted budget for fiscal year 2024 allocated $25,400,000 to the CCRB and set the level of staff at 259 people, including staffing the racial profiling and bias-based policing unit at 33 individuals. OMB announced a series of cuts, the last of which will be in effect by June 30th, 2020, by July 1st, 2024, approximately 18 months away. Sorry, June 30th, 2025, approximately 18 months away. The initial cut that is currently in effect was the removal of 22 positions and $1,272,000. That means the agency will be unable to fill any currently vacant positions in the agency, including in the racial profiling unit. Further, OMB's future cuts will cut an additional $2,300,000 from the agency's budget and leave the agency's headcount at 228 on July 1st, 2024. This is the fiscal environment the CCRB is facing, even, as Chair Rice just mentioned, the number of complaints we received went up 43% this year over last. In order to maintain the high quality of our work, we will need to focus our resources. After careful consideration, the CCRB will no longer investigate failure to provide right-to-know act cards with no other allegations. Complaints where refusal to provide name or shield number is the only allegation. Complaints where discourteous words or actions have no other allegations. Threats by a member of service with no action and no other allegations. Refusal to process a civilian complaint with no other allegations. property seizures with no other allegations, forcible removal to the hospital with no other allegation, and untruthful statements with no other allegations. And finally, any complaint that only has the above referenced allegations. We believe that approximately 800 complaints currently under investigation fall into the first 8 categories. I want to be very clear that if one of these allegations is part of a larger complaint that includes other allegations outside this list that are still in the agency's jurisdiction, the agency will investigate the allegation. For example, if a civilian says they were forcibly removed to a hospital and claims that they were the victim of excessive force, the agency will investigate both allegations. These cuts are potentially the first of many. The agency intends to carefully monitor our resources to ensure we have the proper resources available to conduct high-quality investigations. This was a last resort. If it were possible, we would continue investigating all civilian complaints within our jurisdiction, but we know it is unfair to the public to provide subpar service. We will continue to work with City Hall, NYPD, and any other agency to ensure these complaints are still looked into and to get the CCRB funding that will allow us to fulfill our charter mandate. If you wish to file a complaint with the CCRB, our office is open for walk-in complainants, but it's also possible to file complaints online at nyc.gov/CCRB-complaint, via telephone at 1-800-341-2272 or by calling 311, or by mailing us your complaint to CCRB at 100 Church Street, New York, New York. If anyone wishes to file a complaint here now, we have 2 investigators ready to take any new complaints, Kat White and Emma Stidar. We also have a member of our civilian assistance team, Ruth Villafane, here as well. Some ground rules for this afternoon. We will hear from folks who are at the meeting in person first before going to the people who join online and wish to comment. Regardless of whether you are joining online or here in person, please keep your comments to 4 minutes. If you are joining online and want to participate, please use the raise your hand feature. I want to thank the staff for their hard work, and thanks again to the members of the public for participating in tonight's meeting.
Thank you, John, for that report. Does any member of our board have any questions for our executive director? Any questions for our executive director? Okay. Not seeing any. I'm going to ask for a presentation for our Director of Outreach, Jahai Rose.
Thank you very much, Chair Rice. Hello, my name is Jahai Rose. I am the Director of Outreach. I go by he, him pronouns. I'm just going to provide a brief overview of the CCRB. The Civilian Complaint Review Board is the nation's largest independent oversight entity over the largest police force in the country. The CCRB investigates, mediates, and prosecutes complaints of misconduct alleged against members of the New York City Police Department. The agency is governed by a 15-member board, many of which you've met tonight on the dais. 5 are appointed by the New York City Mayor, 5 are appointed by the New York City Council, 3 are designated by the Police Commissioner, 1 is appointed by the Public Advocate, and the Chair is jointly appointed by the Mayor and the City Council. The CCRB investigates allegations of police misconduct that fall under the following categories. FATO is a helpful reminder, force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, and offensive language. As previously mentioned, if you see any misconduct or would like to report police misconduct, you could feel free to file a complaint on the agency's website at nyc.gov/CCRB complaint or by calling 1-800 1-800-341-CCRB or 1-800-341-2272. Remember, if you see footage of misconduct on social media or on the news, you could file a complaint even if you are not there in person. The typical handle for the CCRB is @CCRB_NYC. Other ways to file complaints with the CCRB include calling 311. You could also visit the CCRB's headquarters at 100 Church Street on the 10th floor in Lower Manhattan. You can feel free to DM or direct message the CCRB on our social media platforms, which is Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram. You could also send a letter to the CCRB at 100 Church Street, 10th floor, New York, zip code 10007. Complaints can also be filed at the New York City at any local police precinct. It does not have to be the precinct where the interaction took place. The NYPD is required to accept complaints at the precinct. You could also request a complaint form and a self-addressed envelope. The CCRB's Youth Advisory Council applications are still live. The CCRB's Youth Advisory Council is a committee of young people, leaders that are committed to criminal justice issues and providing and improving police-community relations. Young people ages that live in New York City, ages 10 to 18, are eligible to apply. The new deadline is December 30th or December 31st. If you would like more information, feel free to email yac@ccrb.nyc.gov. If you'd like to request an outreach presentation by the CCRB's outreach team, feel free to email us at outreach@ccrb.nyc.gov. Once again, you could also contact us and follow us on our social media platforms. It's Instagram, Twitter, or X, and Facebook. Thank you, Chair Rice.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Rose? Any questions? All right, thank you so much for that presentation. Appreciate it. We will now enter the public comment portion of the meeting. We will begin with those who are joining us virtually, who would like to make a comment, followed by those who are joining us in person. For those joining virtually, please use the raise your hand feature, and please keep your comments to 4 minutes. Yahira, would you please call on the first person? Oh.
Special assignment, Eric.
Thank you for your comments and presenting those questions. I'm going to ask our Executive Director to respond.
Thank you, Chair. The CCRB has not taken a position on the bill from the Public Advocate. The CCRB, if it's passed, the CCRB will use the documentation, but beyond that, I don't think it'll have any impact on the CCRB itself.
Thank you. Yahira, is there anyone else? I can hear you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Dunn, was that, sorry. Mr. Dunn, was that your solitary question? It's a very good one, but, or did you have another one? Okay, thank you. And I'm going to have Jonathan respond to that. Very important question.
So it was a long process that got us to this point, and it really started back in the early budget process for the FY24 budget, when we were again facing real cuts, and we were proposing rolling back the investigation of racial profiling, and the city council then responded by making funding the CCRB a priority, and actually not just restored the cuts from the proposal, but strengthened the budgetary support for the agency in the current enacted budget. When the 15% cuts were announced by the Office of Management and Budget, because of our situation where a lot of our headcount is vacant because we are dealing with a new unit that is taking on new responsibilities, it almost immediately, combined with the hiring freeze, meant that we couldn't, we knew we were going to be very short-staffed going forward. And with the increase in complaints, we were at the breaking point of our staff, who worked extremely hard and extremely diligently over the last year to do the work that they had done, but it was just not sustainable. And so we tried to look at the complaints and see what are some of the areas where that are more recent to our jurisdiction, and it was very difficult, and there was a lot of conversation internally about how to get to a place where we think we can still investigate a lot of the complaints that are of the highest priority for the people of the city. And that is a painful thing for me to say, because whether or not you were walking down the street and felt a member of service was discourteous to you, I think that's worthy of investigation. But like, we have to look at we have to be realistic about the resources we have, and if we weren't, we would have spread ourselves thin, and everything would have potentially been subject to a lower quality investigation. And this was, we do not want to lay off our staff. The major asset this agency has is the people who work here. And we don't want to give up the racial profiling portion of our jurisdiction. So we are looking for areas in which there are small numbers of single allegation complaints that we could look at that would still have a meaningful impact on the workload of our investigators.
Mr. Dunn, for that suggestion. Did anyone else on the board have a comment? Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for that. Yahira, is there anyone else on the line? I'm sorry, I didn't, Ms. Wong, I didn't hear the very beginning of your question. You were asking what categories we were looking at in terms of the cases that the cases that we would not take on with the budget cuts, but I didn't hear the first part of the question. Thank you.
So the categories again are failure to provide right-to-know act cards with no other allegation. Refusal to provide name or shield number with no other allegation. Discourteous words or actions with no other allegation. Refusal to process a civilian complaint with no other allegation. Property seizures with no other allegation. Forcible removal to the hospital with no other allegation. Untruthful statements with no other allegation. And then any complaint that only has allegations that were just listed. So it might have multiple allegations, but they would all be one of those 8 categories I just listed. If a complaint has an allegation that is currently in our jurisdiction, and one of those, one or more allegations that are currently on that list, we will investigate that allegation. So for example, if someone says that they were the victim of excessive force while being forcibly removed to a hospital, we would investigate the forcible removal to the hospital. And Madam Chair, while we were talking, the General Counsel just texted me and reminded me, I forgot to say, we plan to put this into effect on January 1st, 2024.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wong, for that question, and John for clarifying. Yahira, the next person on the line? Board Member Simmons, could you introduce yourself? Esmeralda. Thank you. We're now going to enter into the public comments session for those who are here in the room. And so, Mr. Myers, you've already stepped to the podium, but if you have a comment, you can step to the podium, and we do ask you to keep your comments to 4 minutes. Thank you.
I'm Michael Myers, I'm the president of the New York Civil Rights Coalition. I was not going to have a comment today, I really wasn't. I'm going to sit here in silence, out of respect for my anger as opposed to the members of this board. But I'm forced to do so because I don't understand what's going on here anymore. I really don't. I heard the executive director talk about public comments, people present in attendance at the meeting coming first, and then going to the phone call. But I didn't have the right, because I'm not a member of this board, to make a point of order. But somebody should have said, wait a minute, point of order. The people who took their time out to come to the meeting should be first, as the executive director had already said, and now contradicted by the chair. I didn't hear that. Now, I still think the people present at the meeting should have priority. Secondly, with respect to the policy decision, it sounds to me like a policy decision on the part of the executive director. So my question is, without yielding the floor, is whether or not the CCRB has voted these policies, these decisions as a policy change, Or is it just an executive prerogative now not to investigate complaints that have been categorized by the CCRB board? What the hell is going on here? And I want to answer that question, but I'm not pausing for the answer. Now, with respect to the chair, I still don't know, and I didn't hear somebody that can introduce her as, or announce her as the chair that has been appointed by the mayor and the city council, whatever that person is, speaker or whatever. Are you now the permanent chair or the actual acting chair? I just didn't get clarification on that. I keep asking every meeting, when is the mayor going to make a decision on the chair? And when he does not make a decision, to me, it's an act of disrespect. Not just to you, the members of the board, but to the public. We expect to have a chair of the Civilian Complaint Review Board. Is he so busy doing nothing that he can't make a permanent appointment and advise with the city council speaker or whoever he has to advise with to make the appointment? I'm getting disgusted. Now, my other point is that the NYPD commissioner, I have written to him 3 times, at least 3 times, maybe 4 times. That guy doesn't even answer, doesn't even acknowledge, much less answer my complaint and my queries of him. What kind of police commissioner is this? He runs his mouth on the subways for PR purposes, but he's not acting like a police commissioner. I resent it. I really resent it. You said you had invited him to a public session of the CCRB. I come to as many, if not more, public sessions than whatever his name is, the legal director of the NYCLU, who keeps talking about I, as opposed to we. So I assume he speaks for himself and not for the New York Civil Liberties Union. So, has the police commissioner committed to coming to a public meeting of the CCRB and engaging with the public so we can hear him talk with you and you talk to him? We want to hear what he has to say. That's a public right. The man has been hiding from us. As far as the public comment is concerned, I want to reiterate my point of order. My point of order. Either people come here, who come to the meetings, are going to have the respect that is due us and get called on first to speak, as opposed to getting to technical difficulties of hearing people on the phone and people connecting on the phone. I stopped talking on the phone because I couldn't get through. So I decided to come down to meetings. So I thought I heard the executive director say that the public will be first. People in attendance will be first in terms of their public comment. Now, if I did not hear right, I got to take my hat off. Not out of respect, but out of disgust and dismay.
Thank you, Mr. Myers, for your comments. We appreciate them. Just to answer a couple of questions about the things that you raised, and then I will turn it over to our executive director to talk about the list of charges that we are making tough decisions about not being able to address as a agency and as a board. So first of all, I did want to let you know that we have not invited the commissioner to a public session. That has not happened. I believe you stated that it may have happened already, or you're waiting for him. I just want to let you know that we have not invited him. And I did want to let you know I'm still serving as the interim chair of the Civilian Complaint Review Board and will continue to do that as long as I am requested to serve in that role. And then I'm going to turn it over to John to talk a little bit about these really difficult decisions that we're having to make in the face of budget cuts.
Before I get to the difficult decisions, I want to apologize to Mr. Myers. I did state that it would go to the folks in the room first and then online, but I did not follow through and coordinate with our team to make that happen. So the chair rightfully kept the original schedule. So I'm going to try and have it fixed for next month, but the chair did the right thing. That error was on me. And she kept things rolling as was right.
As we heard it.
With regard to the, this is not a rule change. This is what we hope to be a temporary policy change based on the funding levels that the agency is currently facing. I made the decision based on my authority as executive director. I consulted with the chair. She was aware of this decision, and hopefully we will be able to change it back when we have the funding required to do the level of investigation that this city expects.
I don't think they answered good enough. You said policy. Was it policy or was it procedural or rulemaking? The board has to make those decisions. The board needs to know in advance, not just you talking with the chair. The board needs to make these decisions because it's the board to whom the public looks to have answers and responsiveness to our complaints of police misconduct in all the categories, not just some of the categories, all the categories. And so I don't want a get out of jail free card going to any police officer who insults people, who does any of those things on 8 levels that eight things you listed. I don't want them to get off because they refuse to obey your rules. This is outrageous, and the board should say something. This is outrageous. What are you people doing here? Ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Myers, for your comments, and we will definitely continue the conversation during executive session, but as our executive director mentioned, this is not a rules change, and so as a result of it not being a rules change, it is not something that needed to be voted publicly in the board meeting. Do we have anyone else who wanted to make a comment?
Can I just, Madam Chair, I don't think we'll be discussing the policy in the executive session because it's not appropriate for executive session. In executive session, we'll be discussing some HR issues and some general counsel updates. But the conversation about the policy will be here.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Bahar. I'm a reporter with WNYC News covering the NYPD. I just had a clarifying question on the MOU. So is it 90 days within the start of an FID investigation that they're required to hand over the evidence?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it's not just video evidence, it's all evidence. And it's 90 days from when we make the request.
Okay.
And the other thing is that we have approximately 15 complaints open right now that are currently on FID hold where we have made evidence requests in the past. And so 90 days from December 5th, we'll be receiving that. And I'm sure that based on my conversations with the department, that they're going to not wait until the 90th day to get us this evidence. But we'll expect to have the 15 cases that are currently on hold, FID hold, to have that evidence within 90 days.
Of the 5th. Okay, great. And is there something in the memorandum stating what happens if the department doesn't turn over evidence within 90 days?
No.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other people with questions?
Hi, Ms. Jennings. It's unfortunate that the start date of me being stalked is May 11, 2006, which means it's been 17 years. It is 17 years. Unfortunately, nothing's changed with CCRB. You don't handle stalking cases. So when I call 311, I've always listed people to reach out to. I tell them CCRB doesn't handle it. IAB, I don't know what they do. And matter of fact, I have a phone that's hacked, a computer that's hacked. I'm enlightening you on something. For many, many years, the back of the house was a sound. My relative said, was it a washing machine? I said, no, maybe it's a generator. The generator sound went from the back of the house to the side of the house to the middle of the house. I can hear the hum. I can hear when they turn it on. Carnett came and said something about electric. All those letters that go to the White House, for the pair sheet on the top of the letters say about the sonic attacks. I have some conditions going on now, a heart problem and other things going on due to this drama. I have to sit over here and I don't see what's going on, and I have to sit quietly and calmly because I don't want to get in trouble. On the 30th of November, I went 5-6 blocks from that horrible 47 precinct to a town hall event that the mayor had. I spoke to David Johnson, who is the scheduler and assistant to the mayor. And I showed him the letters that go to the White House, and I told him a little bit about my drama, but everyone knows about it. I said, on September the 14th, I went to MTA Transit 12 for help. This camera's on the top. The letters weren't the cameras. I watched an officer there move traffic in front of the train station. The amount of cars was unreal. I was there for a while, called Bronx Borough President's office, called One Police Plaza to know about. I wasn't allowed in the precinct, which is common. It's not uncommon for me to go to the precinct for help, to do what you say to get a complaint. I can't go in the precinct. On that day, I was there for a while. GDX 7767, unmarked, showed up. I watched who's next to me with the piece of paper. But you know, while I was there, the amount of police that kind of crept at me. Now, these are the people I'm going to about being harassed, crept on, marched into, and you were kind of like marching into me. I'm lost. Let's go back for a second. I'll make it quick. On the day of November 30th, Caban was there, all the commissioners were there, and people asked them questions. They had no answer to them, many of the questions. The puppets of the mayor's office. Okay, I'm going to reach out again for Mr. Darsha if he can find time to talk to me, if he can, let me have a word with him. I don't feel safe. This is very important. I let it be known when I call everyone I fear for my life and safety. If you dare to spend the day watching me, what you saw, your jaw would drop, and what you see now is nothing compared to the first 7, 8 years of this, and it's 17. And we know how old I am. I want to know how you're going to cover this up. Because I asked all of you, so many different people, that were aside from this, different, people. And I asked you on the side for some help. Reach out. No one. 17 years. Something's wrong with this. Because I'm at the camera. I'm always this. When I'm calling anywhere, I'm at a camera. So I'm at the camera, saying I'm at the camera, and you see what's going on. Nothing. So maybe Mr. Darsh can find time, he could speak to me. We can have a meet, I don't know. Anything. Because I do fear for my life and safety. And the sonic attacks are quite bad. Because I don't sleep at night, so I can hear when they click it on. I have a rumble underneath me. I have a tingle, and it's real bad, whatever's been put on me. Thank you, dear. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. Is there anyone else who has a public comment? Anyone else? All right. Seeing. Sure? Okay. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Any old business? Do we have any new business? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to move that we break into executive session. The agenda for executive session is the board will deliberate on a full board case. The executive director will discuss pending personnel actions, and the general counsel will update the board litigation and on the FID MOU. I would like to move that the meeting is adjourned.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, so moved. The December meeting of the CCRB is adjourned. Thank you.